Welcome back. I have not been crying. I've been cutting onions for dinner. My name is Bryce.
I'm Chase.
We've been full-time RVers for almost 4 years now. We travel the country for Chase's work. Chase is a welder, and probably one of the most frequent questions we get a lot on Instagram and Facebook is how we find work on the road. We are going to discuss how Chase started, how he finds work, if you're going from ground zero, I guess what to look out for, resources that we've found that have been helpful. We're also going to discuss how I find work on the road as a fire watch helper, a bunch of different other work that's out there for people who maybe don't have I guess you could say a skill, like welding, electrician, stuff like that. So we're gonna talk about how to find jobs like that. And then I think at the very end, we're gonna give a job update of like what's been going on. Yeah, because the past few videos have been about upgrading or fixing the camper. And so some of y'all are probably wondering what's going on. So we'll tell you that at the very end. Chase, how did you start?
So I went to a welding school out of Waco, Texas. The program was 16 months. Towards the end there, I built relationships with all my instructors, and towards the end of me graduating, there was a student that had just graduated maybe a few semesters before myself, and he had come up there just to kind of hang out, kind of freshen up before he went to take a weld test for a local company down the road. The instructor asked him if he could get me on, and so he called the recruiter, and the recruiter said, yes, I've got a few open spots available, and he gave me his number, and I called him, and that's how I got started, and then worked for them for about 1.5 years in North Texas and East Texas.
That company was great, and you met people, but it took 1.5 years to meet the right person to get you into the nuclear power plant side. Yes.
I knew that there was other stuff out there. It's just the guys that worked for that particular company, they just stayed with that company. They were content with it, and they just kind of did that little circuit around Texas. I wanted to see what else was out there. I was in East Texas welding with another welder, and he had a nuclear background in welding in those types of plants, and he had asked would I be interested in going and working at one, and I said yes. I was like, sweet, that's my ticket. I started that process. It took about 2 or 3 months to kind of get in, just calling the recruiter and getting all that set up. From there, went to Arizona, and I've been traveling outside of Texas, and I've still come back to Texas to work in Texas with other companies, and even them as well, the company I started out with.
When you went to the nuclear plant, a lot of those guys travel all over.
Yes.
And have worked, or a good chunk of them have worked for other companies.
Yeah.
So then you meet other people that way. You meet people who have worked with other companies. You get phone numbers that way. You kind of network and stuff.
Yeah. There's always going to be some jerks out there. Some people that just don't want to help you out. They don't want to give you the time of the day. They're stingy. They don't want to help you out in terms of they realize you're green. You're new to this. You don't have no contacts.
And you tried, before you even got into the plants, you tried cold calling companies.
Yes.
And it was just nothing was sticking.
Yes. Cold calling, not having a reference, not having any other general knowledge of the industry or how it works is very tough. I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, anything could happen. But for myself, it just didn't work for me. My end was that person coming up to the school that I went to, and then from there, I just kind of built a network, and then from there, I just kind of roll with that. So now, the way I get jobs, me working with past companies, you'll have like a logbook or a contact list in your phone, and then you'll call them up by yourself. There's so many different resources out there. Facebook is a great, useful tool in typing in different industries like nuclear, trying to find a job in nuclear. You can type in nuclear jobs. It'll be a list of different companies that do work in nuclear, different contractors that do work inside nuclear power plants. And then you can get specific, whether it's welding, pipe fitting, scaffolding, instrumentation, machining, electrical. There's so many different jobs within these plants, whether that's power plants, refineries, chemical plant. I don't do any pipeline welding just because I'm what they call a single hand welder. I don't have a rig. I don't have a machine. They supply everything for me. That's what's worked for me, and I just haven't had an opportunity to work as a pipeline welder. I'm not saying I won't or I will. I just haven't had an opportunity for that yet. For getting jobs, there's Facebook and Google search is going to be your biggest. It's going to be really good. Now there are other companies out there like Road Dog Jobs. You can find jobs through there. There'll be listings, but I feel like Facebook is probably the best because you can join groups like Welding Jobs in America group or Welding Jobs in Refinery, and it's a group, and you just join the community. You'll just see what people post and on there, and sometimes it'll be companies will post on there. There is LinkedIn as well. I have looked on there before just to see, but I've never pursued anything on there. I just would like to see what, like, I think it'd be fun to work in Alaska, and I just type in welding jobs in Alaska and kind of see what what's out there. And
Yeah, and Facebook, like you said, is probably the number one thing to try.
yes.
And be specific too.
Yes.
Like you said, do like
Try
welding.
all different algorithms.
Yeah, don't just type in welding jobs and assume that all of them are going to come.
Yes.
I typed in just to, see Facebook and see what it was about. I typed in welding jobs, nuclear plants, and a company came up. There's so many even like groups with jobs that pay per diem. Per diem is in you get a set amount for each day that you're there. That's
right.
supposed to like cover housing and stuff like that.
So we get hourly, per diem, and travel. Your hourly is taxed. Your per diem and travel is not taxed. It's non-taxable. It would make it very difficult to travel if there wasn't per diem.
For people who are starting ground zero, Facebook groups for sure.
Yes.
Google searches, I say just try it. You just never know.
The Google searches will lead you down the rabbit hole of Indeed, LinkedIn, and those can kind of, hey, you might land one. It just depends on what you're looking for. A job locally, the pay will most likely be significantly less than those who are willing to travel, uproot, leave their family and friends for a little while, and then be able to come back.
Yeah, so Facebook groups for sure. Once you get in to a job or whatever, it may take a while for you to meet new people and to network and stuff. But I think also too, you kind of have to put in the time. Don't assume that like everything's going to happen right there and everything's going to be given to you.
I've helped some younger guys get in, and it just happened for them. It just kind of just like domino effect. It's like really, really fast for them. For me, it took a year and a half to get away from that one company. It wasn't because I was doing anything wrong. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's just the way.
Yeah,
I guess,
so that's just sometimes the way it is.
Yeah.
Like we said, Facebook groups for sure. Type in a whole plethora of different ways, or like maybe welding refinery jobs or something like that, to where you can see what there is. Now for my situation, I have been your, I guess, Firewatch / helper and Firewatch on another job. Now the way that I got on my first job was because the company that you were with actually needed more Firewatch. And so since they knew that I was with you, I was able to work with you on your same crew at the first one.
Yes.
And I also got per diem and hourly. I think I got travel too.
You did.
I did, yeah.
Yes.
Now the second company that I worked with you, different crews, which was totally fine.
Different company.
Different company. It was just straight hourly.
Just hourly. You still got time and a half, anything before, but it was just hourly.
But it was worth it because I was already there with you.
Yes.
Now if you're a single person and you're wanting to do Firewatch or helper and stuff, I would really recommend, unless you're local, to not do the straight hourly jobs unless your spouse or someone else.
I would not leave a steady job if you're local and you see this video and you find a plant that's like within 50 to 75 miles away from you or whatever. Don't uproot your job, because it's only going to be just a few weeks or so, and
which I should say too, especially for those who are watching this new, our outages or the time frame that you're working at these power plants can range anywhere from 4 weeks to 4 months.
It just depends.
It
Sometimes
just depends.
2 weeks to it just really just depends.
So that's another thing too. I
can't put a definitive.
Yeah. If you're trying to find jobs in my situation that are helper, mainly you're just there to really just assist and help. Firewatch, you're there with a fire extinguisher and you're standing back and you're just observing, making sure nothing catches on fire. It's really easy. They teach you everything. At first I was like, this sounds really like something crazy or whatever, but y'all, I'm telling you, it's super easy. They teach you everything. One of the ways to find Firewatch jobs is Facebook. When you were in Louisiana at a refinery, I typed in the refinery and I think I typed in jobs or something, and Firewatch jobs came up. Now I didn't have a TWIC card. What would you call it?
It's a maritime. So basically allows you to work near a body of water in those refineries.
Yeah, so I didn't have one. I couldn't work that job with you, but I think eventually I should get it. I'm gonna get a TWIC card. There's even Firewatch Facebook groups just for Firewatch. There's some for helpers, and I would also, just to see what's out there too, when I typed in welding jobs in nuclear plants, I was even seeing jobs for other things as well. Once you find a company, click on it and see what else they're hiring. Because I found painters. They needed painters.
Yep.
They needed tool room attendants. Pretty much you're just handing out tools to guys and stuff, checking them in and out.
And this was for what again?
And this was for a nuclear plant.
Nuclear plant. I mean, there's, and then there's that, and then there's also the radiation side, radiation protection, radiation, clean. It's just there's so much stuff.
In the sense of you don't need an actual skill in the sense of welding, electrician, engineer.
You don't have to have a skill set.
Yes.
If you want to just make some money, make some good money, be a laborer, there are jobs out there for that. And that might allow you to get your foot in the door and then be like, oh wow, I wouldn't mind being a rigger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind being a crane operator. I wouldn't mind being a machinist. I would like to be a welder, a fitter.
Because there's even like hole watches where you're pretty much outside of a hole. What would you call it? Like you're outside of a place where everyone's going in to work.
Yeah.
Like a contained area. It's kind of hard
Confined
to explain
space,
unless you're there.
You have to have a permit.
Yeah. And so someone's there checking you in and making sure all that. So there's people like that these outages and plants need.
Yeah.
And so do some research. Facebook groups, like we said. I know we've said Facebook groups a lot, but really want to stress Facebook groups.
Yes.
Because if you're in a situation where, because we've gotten a lot of messages saying, like, how do you find jobs? Where do you start? We're starting from ground zero. I would say Facebook groups, try to meet other people. I mean, even at RV parks, we've met people who've, you've gotten numbers for jobs.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah, so you never know who you're going to meet. Once you get your foot in the door, build relationships.
Yes.
Job update. If you, like we said at the beginning, if you watch our past few videos, we've been doing some repairs to the camper. Now we are, I guess, kind of doing some more repairs / chilling at the moment. We were supposed to do a job that fell through. It's totally fine. Some weather permitted us not to do the job. And so now we're just kind of waiting until the beginning of the year, or you'll probably start making some phone calls here soon. I think you said.
Yeah.
And then get the ball rolling. So for those who are probably thinking we haven't been working for a while, we were supposed to, but stuff happens. So best part about RV life is that we can just pack up and go.
That's right.
So it happens. But anyway, if you like this video, if you have found it extremely helpful, if there's ways that you found jobs that other people may benefit from, please leave a comment below. Please subscribe. We'd like to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. We're getting close.
We are.
Whenever we hit 2, we're going to start doing YouTube lives. I think we said once a month or something. I guess pending on work, however that looks like. But yeah, we greatly appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Peace.